Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Ashley Muckenhop.
And I'm Chrissy Riley.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than when we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain irrational optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by, well, Adam Williams, but he is not here today. Adam is in Bora Bora with Jackie. I think they are celebrating 17 years. Wow. So shout out to Adam and Jackie. Hope you're enjoying the sun and the fun.
17 years. That's longer than I've been alive.
That is not. Oh, welcome, people. It's Chrissy. So Chrissy Riley is joining us today, and Chrissy is Adam's executive assistant. So I will explain when we get into the topic why she's here today. But so, yeah, since Adam's out, I'm running the show.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, Adam's out. So we have Chrissy on here. Chrissy is Adam's executive assistant, and our topic today is everything you wish your entrepreneurial boss had told you. So we both work for a very successful entrepreneur, so we're going to dig into all of that. But
well, that's my line,
that's
Ashley.
I'm sorry.
Before we begin, where can people find my first radio interview?
I know, she's so excited. All right. As always, we're going live on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and of course, MaverickMindsetRadio.com. We're always updating, including Maverick merch. So you can use the Maverick merch coupon code of Maverick10 for 10% off. So we still have the notebooks, the stickers, mugs. I think we're going to be adding some other stuff there, right? Okay. Nice. All right. So we are always starting off our show with quote of the day. And Chrissy, you picked the quote, so I'm going to let you just dive right into that. And
Absolutely. This quote is, there are lots of bad reasons to start a company, but there's only one good, legitimate reason. And I think you know what it is. It's to change the world. That's from Phil Libin. He's the co-founder of Evernote.
And why did you pick this quote?
Well, I think people start businesses. There are so many reasons, whether it's, purely financial, which kind of, pursuing their passions, fill a void, whatever. But every person wants to make an impact somehow. And speaking of impact, exciting news, Rust Belt Business Law made the 2024 Inc. 5000 list.
Yay!
This list is comprised of the fastest growing private companies in the United States. Yep. We were ranked number 1,417 nationally, 114th in the Northeast region, 34th in Pennsylvania, and 21st within the legal industry.
That's awesome. And I think this was, Adam mentioned it before, this was on his bucket list back in college. He said he was gonna make this. So that's setting a goal, and then that is crushing that goal. So
yeah,
he did. I hope he's celebrating. I'm sure he is.
No, in Bora Bora, there's no celebration.
No, you're just relaxing and enjoying the sun. Okay, let's get into some questions, Chrissy.
I prepared.
I know, and you're not supposed to. You weren't supposed to prepare for these questions.
I'm an anxious person. I prepare for everything.
That's why you're good as Adam's executive assistant. You gotta think of it. Usually our guests, unless they're listening to the show, they don't get to prepare ahead of time. But okay.
I have the insider knowledge.
You do, yes. So 60 seconds, real quick. Backstory.
Yeah. My dad is a retired Army colonel, so we moved around a lot when I was little. We ended up in central Pennsylvania when I was in elementary school, and that is where my dad retired. My hometown is a village, technically.
Nice.
There are 0 stoplights. Very small.
Where are you from?
Nowhere. And then I went to college in Virginia in another small town, and then realized I wanted to be in a city. I moved to the West Coast a month after graduation, and I lived in Los Angeles for 14 years.
Nice. All right. Sunny LA. Okay. What is going on now? Because now you're here. Now you're in Erie. So.
Yeah, well, I'm currently on a radio show, which is not something I had on my bingo card.
You're welcome.
I'm used to booking people on radio shows, not being a guest myself.
Yeah.
Well, I was hired by Adam at the end of April. The time has flown by.
Yeah.
Like, kind of feels like I just started, but then also feels like I've been there forever.
Right.
Yeah.
He has a way of making you feel that way.
Yeah.
He's like shaking his head right now.
Yeah. He's like, why did I let Chrissy go on this show?
Why did I let Ashley run this show? Okay. All right. So now you're in Erie, and you started in April working for Adam. And we're going to get into what that's like a little bit later. So let's see. If you could have a panel of 3 people, living or dead, to help you with your most important decisions, who are those 3 people?
First one would be my brother, Pat. Like, he is the best big brother, and he's so smart. Even though I scored higher on the SATs, his advice always comes from a place of love and support. And it's always helpful, even when I don't ask for the advice or I don't like the advice. But he puts a lot of thought into his feedback, and he weighs the pros and cons. Like, his decisions are so thought out. There's a bonus there. He might beat Adam in the dad joke.
Really?
Department, yeah. The next one would be Tina Fey. I've been watching Saturday Night Live since I was way too young to be up that late, and the majority of skits went way over my head. I find her really inspiring. She's incredibly intelligent and incorporates humor in the best way. Plus, she's a fellow Pennsylvanian.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's from
Fun
Philly.
fact. Okay.
And then the last one would be Dr. Martin Seligman, and I had just stumbled across him. He's a well-known psychologist who studies happiness and resilience.
Oh, right.
He studies the factors that enable people and communities to thrive, and his work is based on the belief that people want to lead meaningful and fulfilling lives.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That is true. Okay. We probably, because we have a lot to go through, so we're not going to go through all of these, but tell me, because this is, Adam likes asking this question too. Have you ever hated anyone?
It's so funny you ask this because my fiance and I are currently trying to not use the word hate so casually because this 5-year-old daughter picks up on it and really leans into it.
Nice.
So, we've tried explaining the power of the word and said focus on kindness. But that said, yes, I have definitely hated someone, more than one person. Yeah.
All right. We won't ask you who. All right. Last one. What do you want to be doing in 5 years?
Oh, I hope to still be employed by Adam.
Aw, see, I like that.
Especially after today.
Yeah. Me too.
I really enjoy working for an entrepreneur and being a part of the process. Just in the short time since I've been there, Pennywise has grown exponentially.
Yeah.
And it's been really fulfilling.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm learning so much while I try my hardest to make Adam's life easier.
Listen, that's always going to be because if you know Adam, I'm sure most of you do that are listening to this. He is nonstop 24/7. So you got to keep up. So you can make it better for maybe a few minutes out of that day because he is on to the next thing, and you got to just you got to be running along with that.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like I'm frequently like, no, we're not moving on to the next thing. Nope, we're not done here. I need you to look at this. And it's been really thrilling to kind of dip my toes into a very different approach to marketing.
Yeah.
I come from a PR and marketing background, but this is completely different from anything I've experienced.
Yeah. And we're going to dig into that. That's why we're doing this show. I was really excited. I've been waiting for Adam to leave so that I could take over, so I could do this, because we always talk about on this show being a business owner, entrepreneur, business leader. So a lot of our shows are geared toward that. So I wanted to flip the script a little bit and talk about, well, what is it like to be the person working for that successful entrepreneur, business owner? And there is a difference between a successful entrepreneur and a business owner. Very big difference. So what a successful entrepreneur does is kind of, business owner, you work for your business. And when an entrepreneur that's successful, they've learned how to flip that and make the business work for them, which is why, and Adam gets so upset when someone says that their job or their business is their baby. I have like it is. It's not. It's not. And if you think that way, and if you feel that way, then you are working for your business. So it's they have a way of just flipping it completely on its head, and you make your business work for you, and then you're able to, accomplish the things on, like being on the Inc. 5000 and going to Bora Bora and having these experiences. And Adam has really captured and taught us what it's like to be a successful entrepreneur. So we're going to talk about that. He'll love that the show is a lot about him. So
even in his absence,
yes. So, okay, let's get into it then. Again, why we picked this is because I wanted to go over why it's important, or what it feels like to be the employee of a successful entrepreneur, and how important that job is. So we were trying to think of names of so we have entrepreneur. What do you call the person that, so I come from an entrepreneurial background. So my dad, my grandparents on both sides, my aunts, my uncles, all have owned their own business. So I grew up in that life too, just as Adam has mentioned. So that's what I saw. I saw what it was like to own a business. And you would think then that growing up in that world, that's where, I would grow up to want to own my own business. I don't want to own my own business, and I don't want to run my own business, but I want to work for someone that does.
Yes.
I want to be alongside for that ride, but not have all that responsibility. I'm not built in that way.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Me either. It's like, like I already have anxiety. I already have like the most unnecessary things that keep me up at night. Yeah. Adding on to that, the level of owning your own business and
being responsible for so many people. So I don't want that, but I am not I can't sit in a cubicle, and I can't work for a corporation. I will become the world's most unemployable person if that is all that was offered to me. So, we agreed that we're not an entrepreneur, but we are co-entrepreneurs, yes. Right? So I wanted to talk about, I had this airplane analysis because Adam has bought a plane. And so I look at it this way. He's the pilot, yes. Right? That's his plane. He knows the direction it's going. He knows how that plane operates. He knows the elevation that he has to be at. He's in charge. Altitude. Is that? Sorry. Thank you, Chrissy. He knows all of that. I don't. But what I know I can do is sit as a co-pilot, co-entrepreneur, right? I'm the co-pilot. I can assist in getting to that, in that direction. I know if he's not here, if he has to go take a break, I can drive the plane, right? Yeah. I'm just as excited to be sitting up there. I see where we're going. I'm in that position with him, but it's not all my responsibility. Then you have the people in the back of the plane, right? Those are probably your 9 to 5s, your whatever. Like, they don't want to be up there driving the plane. They're certainly fine with Adam driving the plane and getting them to where they need to go, right?
Right.
So I look at it that way. The plane's your business. You have your co-entrepreneur, you have your entrepreneur, and then you have the people that, are just, 9 to 5. I want to come in and do my job. I want to get out. I'm good for that. And that's fine. That works for some people.
Yeah.
That is completely fine. But that's not me. So, I want to talk about that. All right. So it is it is important to understand that just as it takes a certain kind of person to be an entrepreneur, a successful business owner, it also takes a certain kind of person to work for one. There is a dedication and a loyalty to the same vision and an understanding of the mission and a hunger for success and growth.
Yes.
It's that maverick mindset. An entrepreneur wants to excel financially and professionally, but they also want to leave an impact on the world. And we say this in our opening when we open the show. And that's extremely important to remember because their vision is directly related to that impact that they're trying to have. So the vision typically has to do with change, innovation, and making a difference. So as someone who is part of the team, you have to be just as passionate about that. And it involves your emotion. It involves the late nights too. It involves the worrying. It involves the thinking, the puzzle solving, the input. You're just as wrapped up in it, right? You always hear some bosses be like, nobody cares about my business more than me. No, but the next person that does is that person that is just as invested in that vision, right?
Right.
So if you are just showing up to collect a paycheck, you're not a co-entrepreneur. You probably don't have a maverick mindset, and people are probably like, whatever. But listen, you belong in the corporate world in a cubicle working a 9 to 5, and don't bother me on the weekend, right? Like I clock out at 5, I'm not back until Monday at 9, right? Like,
right.
And again, that's totally fine. But when you're that successful entrepreneur and you're that co-entrepreneur, I know we get messages, like we're messaging back and forth on the weekends. We're like, hey, this came up, all right, what do you think about that? Like, I know I'm thinking about ideas even at the end of the day. I know I'm sending Adam and Jackie messages like, oh, I think we should be doing this. And Adam's like, put that in somewhere where I can review that, right?
Put that in Notion.
Yeah, because your mind just keeps going because you're thinking of the same things to make the business better.
Yes.
To have the opportunity to connect with people on that same level, to be in the grind of it, to be in those heated conversations, because that happens. Most importantly, to be free to express myself or to watch myself evolve on a personal level, because what we're taught in the working world with Adam and Jackie, we certainly pull into our personal worlds as well. And to see the faces of others that don't understand you start to go through, it's almost inspiring because you see yourself, and Adam has talked about this many times, you start to change, and so you start to leave people behind. Right. And when you start to see that happen, you know that you're growing. It's not a bad thing. You're like, all right, I'm ready for that next level. So, I'll take the challenge and that experience and that growth, over a bigger paycheck any day. So, tell me a little bit, cause now you're in that world, right? So
yes.
You've been in the corporate or the working for the opposite end. And now like you're in the midst of this too. So tell me a little bit about that switch and that change and how that's been.
Yeah. So I, as I mentioned before, my background is in entertainment publicity, mostly film, little bit of TV. I've worked for small film companies, like mini studios. I've worked for PR agencies, a nonprofit at one point, and large film studios.
Nice.
Working for an entrepreneur involves a lot more like hustle and grind. The budgets are smaller, so you have to be smarter and really lean into your creativity. And you really need to weigh the pros and cons of an idea before taking them to the boss, like to Adam. But you actually know all of your colleagues. Like you're not just emailing some random Teresa in finance to be like, can you sign off on this purchase order? Yeah. You know everyone, and you're involved in all layers of the company. Not that my input is like taken all the time.
It's not, but it's certainly considered. It's
yeah.
You feel like you're like, all right, I have you have a voice.
I've been allowed to have a point of view.
Exactly.
And then that also helps like in the learning process of okay, so I had this idea, kind of felt a little off the wall. And then, talking it through with Adam. Yeah. And getting to see all the moving parts. You're not, when you're at like a large studio, you're not involved in the discussions on budgets, on like with
don't
the CEO.
understand what it takes.
Yeah.
Like what's going on behind the scenes, which then gives you a new appreciation for how that business is built and how it's running. If you're not in the throes of that, if you don't understand every moving part, it's very easy to just think that, well, this is easy. This just runs on its own. And that is not how it works.
It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah. Yep. Which I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to the next point when we talk about resilience and perseverance. It's a constant work in progress. So I've heard Adam give the talk to people about businesses that, businesses don't go shoot up straight, right?
Yeah, it's not a steady incline. It never is. It
never is. So there's that, you incline and you plateau for a little bit, and then you got to go up, and then you plateau for a little bit, and then you got to go up. And it's in those...
Well, you may even, go down a little bit.
Exactly. So the goal is you want to go up, but it's up and down. And then there's a level of like, you're just kind of steady in there. And it's in those down moments, and it's in those moments where you're kind of plateaued for a little bit. That's where that resilience and that perseverance happen. That's where you really see an entrepreneur dig in and say, okay, I got to get to this next level. I gotta figure out what I have to do. And that's where you see that creativity and that vision come through, right? When we know things are going 110 and Adam and Jackie are all over the place, we know something's happening, right? Because they are in full vision mode. They are in full, they're working on something, that they're going to launch something, that there is maybe a new marketing, or we're going to again, flip things upside down to, it's constantly trying things, testing things. How is this going to work? Adjusting things, tweaking. There's all those different things that are happening.
As Adam says, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's especially with building Pennywise. And it's so funny because Adam he's like, I'll fly the plane and build it on the way down, or however that analogy he always uses, right? Like he's I'm going to jump off the cliff and then figure it out on and then it's funny because that's the way he is. And Jackie's the one, like, I'm going to make sure every piece of that is intact and put together, and I'm going to decorate it too. Like it is like, and her vision of how that
they complement each other so well,
because then you put that together, and it's like a explosion of, as Adam would say, brilliance, right? And so when you see that come together and you see those different the different ways that they work, what comes out of that is really quite amazing. And so, but that is not an easy place to be. That is a lot of meetings. That is a lot of brainstorming. That is a lot of trying things and failing. That's a lot of this didn't work, and it's a lot of frustration. And as an employee in that seat and watching that and being part of that, you gotta, your leader or your I don't like the word boss.
Neither does Adam.
No, he said he's getting used to it and what it means, but I don't like the word. But they don't have a choice, right? They have to get through that, and they have to find a way.
They have to keep driving the ship. They stay with the Titanic as it goes down.
So,
but it's not going down. In this
It's not.
Sorry,
going
that
down.
was a bad analogy.
Wow, Chrissy.
Okay, I will never be back.
Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chrissy's last show.
One and done.
So. Okay, so real quick, you are tuned into Maverick Mindset Radio. We are blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9. I got it, Adam. So I'm Ashley, and I'm here with Chrissy, Adam's executive assistant, and we are just going over that resilience and that perseverance and how a leader, like, you can't quit. Like, again, they're not going down with the ship. But so if we want to keep to the Titanic reference, you can be the orchestra that's playing on the boat, or you could be jumping off into those boats. And so you have to make that decision as that employee, like, all right, there's a lot of change, or real quick, people can get real insecure about their jobs, or real, like, I don't know if this is.
Yeah, there's a certain level of trust that you put in your leader.
Yes.
And trusting his vision, trusting his passion.
Like we just said, you got to have the same one. And if you're a good entrepreneur, you have picked the right people, right? You have hopefully employed people that do, like, trust in your vision and are going to go down with the ship. You have chosen those people. Now, again, you need people within the business that are going to do certain jobs that you don't expect to have that certain amount of dedication and things, right? I mean, that's just part of
at any company,
any business, whatever. But your key people, the ones that you want to take along with you, hopefully you have hired well enough to know that, like, okay, I know when we're in this down period or this period where nothing's happening, we got to make something happen, that they're along for that ride. So,
because once you get to the other side, like, those are the people you want to celebrate with.
Yes.
The people who were right alongside you.
Well, and they are celebrating too. Like, I have gotten so frustrated at things sometimes when it's not working. Like, I want to see it succeed, and I have gotten in those conversations with Adam, and I'm like, this didn't work, and like, it's sometimes he laughs and he's like, good, I was just gonna swear, get mad, because that's now I know, like, you're gonna start to do, like,
do you need my post-it that I have on my computer?
But Chrissy has a post-it of I'm not gonna swear.
Yeah.
We'll get in trouble. But he wants to see that passion from you. And again, then that means, if your employees have a certain passion about what they're doing and how it's working and wanting to make the changes, then you know that they are going to be with you to get to the other side of things.
Yeah. And wait, so you had told me a story about something that happened with Adam when you were buying a house.
Mm-hmm. So I just bought a house in February, and I remember, like, that was scary. That's a big commitment. And I was like, oh man. And I remember I was getting on a Zoom. I was stressed. Like, there was a lot going on. And I was on a Zoom meeting with Adam, and he and Jackie have a knack for picking up on that, again, because they pay attention to the staff and their employees and what's happening in life. So they always, Adam can always pick up on, he's like, all right, you're not all there. What's going on? I'm like, I'm stressed. I'm like, listen, Adam, I'm just going to lay it out. Like, I'm buying a house, and I need to know that, like, we're good. Like, everything's good. Like, I have this security and
because when you're in that anxious place, you're just spiraling, and you're questioning everything.
Yeah. Should I be doing this? And it was funny because I'm over here spiraling, and Adam starts laughing.
Again, his reaction.
Yeah. And he's like, when are you going to have some faith in me? And he's like, and the other time there was somebody else that was buying a house too. And he's like, I got a lot of work to do. He goes, you guys are making me work for it. I gotta, he's like, I gotta keep it going. And at that point, he wasn't like, well, hey, like, it was a genuine care of, like, have a little faith in me. I'm not going to let you fail. I'm not going to let you get in a situation that, like, I'm here along, just as we're here along for his vision, he's there along for ours too. It's that whole of, they're over here, I want to grow. They have their goals, their visions, the things that they want to do, but they're also inspiring you and motivating you and helping you to get to yours as well. And so they don't want to see you fail at that. So he was like, just as long as we're, again, your pilot and co-pilot, and you're driving that plane together. So he was very much like, it's going to be okay. Like, trust me. Yeah, it's going to be okay. And then the next thing him saying is, I have a lot of work to do because you and this other person are over here buying houses. And it was like, his mindset was like, these people are making these big life changes, and I've got to make sure that what I'm doing over here is getting them through that, and that they don't have to worry. And I don't know a regular business owner, boss, corporate that is going to be thinking that way. They
absolutely.
I'm not going to swear. They don't care.
Do you need my post-it?
No, they don't care if you fail, if you bought a house and you can't make your mortgage. On the other, and then you have these people over here. They're like, I'm going to get you through no matter what. Like, I'm going here, you're going with me.
Yeah.
So if I'm succeeding, you're succeeding. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, and I've worked for large companies. Yeah. I've also worked for, someone who was not an entrepreneur, was very much just a business owner. Mm-hmm. And when the business is struggling, you are a number on a spreadsheet. Yep. You are just part of a formula that's calculating overhead. Yep. And the CEOs aren't necessarily stressing about your mortgage payment, your bills, your life. They're looking to where they can make cuts.
Yep. And that's the opposite of Adam and Jackie. It's like, well, I mean, it is the compassion and the empathy and the care and that they have for all the people that work for them. I had a sales call, and I just interrupted our thing. I'm going to go off script, but it was the guy I was talking to, and he's like, tell me about Adam and Jackie. So I started going into like, oh, well, they've been this much years of experience. And he goes, no. He goes, tell me about Adam and Jackie. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, just digging into the type of people they are, but how they care about us. And like, at the end of the day, like, we are always going to be taken care of. Like, I have that faith in that. I have that, it'd be the very last thing would be on their minds to ever, like, they would go without before like something happening to one of their staff. Like, they care about their staff's they're always, we'll get into those personal touches and stuff. Like, there's always that very caring people. And that's what sold that guy, right? He's like, that's what I need to understand and hear. Those are the type of people that I want to be doing business with. So you have to, again, how you are in your personal life and what makes you a good entrepreneur, those two go hand in hand. You've got to carry those same characteristics into running your business.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And every team member that works with us is vital and valued, and they contribute greatly. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Tell me about, we're talking about doing things differently. Tell me about going the extra mile. Tell me about the Chick-fil-A story. I gotta, because I heard you say this on a Zoom meeting, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. So Thursday night, and I was going to be out of the office on Friday. Thursday late afternoon, Adam messaged me and said, I need Chick-fil-A delivered to this car dealership tomorrow. Absolutely, on it. So I look up the car dealership, and they are way outside of any delivery like area for anything. I was
Uber Eats isn't going out there.
DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, like literally every single one.
Cue Chrissy.
And so I went to Adam and I said, no one delivers out there. However, I can have these options delivered. And Adam just said, nope, it's got to be Chick-fil-A. I was like, how am I going to make this work? I'm like, who, Adam's like, I don't care if you have to pay someone to take it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get out like I have to go home. I have to be up at like 4:40, or I have to leave my house at 4:45 a.m. the next morning. Yep. I was like thinking, would our messenger service do it? No, because they can't give an exact window. Okay, I'll do it on Monday. So I messaged Adam and I said, I'm doing it on Monday. I'll order the Chick-fil-A, pick it up, and drive it out. And it was because Adam had promised the people there that he would have Chick-fil-A brought to them for lunch. And he keeps his promises.
Yeah, stuck to his word. Mm-hmm. So he didn't bring them Burger King. They wanted Chick-fil-A.
KFC was one of the, I was like, KFC delivers.
No. So, and that's part of that extra touch, which is something that we, that they stress. And again, that's something, how you make others feel, keeping your promises, and going that extra mile for your clients, for your staff. That's part of being a good entrepreneur. We see that as employees. We see that type of those values, those characteristics. And when you are seeing that, it's almost like a kid and you watch your parents, right? You learn from the things that they're doing and that they're teaching you. And that's how you develop into the person that you are. So when you're seeing this, you're like, okay, hey, that personal touch, that what they're doing, that keeping your word.
And this is evident from literally the moment you were hired.
Yes. Talk about that.
When I was hired, I signed the agreement, signed with blood. I'm just kidding. And then, so quickly you all had a package delivered to my house, with, personalized note and everything. And it was like signed by all of you. It was so nice. And it was so welcoming and special. So that's just one of the instances where where Adam and Jackie go the extra mile.
Yep.
You know, with new clients.
I just got an email this morning. I opened it when we got here in the studio, and it's from a potential client, and she's like, "Thank you so much for the sweet package you sent. That's gonna come." It was like this coffee package, everything that
Royce and I put together the boxes. Yes.
So and they are cute boxes. So she was like, "Thank you so much for that sweet package. It's gonna come in really handy this week as it's crazy, and I didn't forget about you, so I want to make sure." And it was like that person was genuinely happy to have received that and gotten that, like, oh, they're thinking about me. Do you know what I mean? And those are things that, like, again, as we're watching and you're wondering, like, why are you sending these? People don't care. And it's like, no, wait they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, this person isn't even a client yet, and we're doing this. So it just goes to show how we treat our clients.
Right. It is a difference. Again, there's a difference between, and you know, that's sticking to, you know, always giving business owners out there and listening to this show, what are things that you need to do to be, you know, more successful in your business? You got to think about those personal touches, and the things that you are doing that are outside of the box. There are people watching you do that, which then inspires them to be thinking outside of the box, and it inspires them to want to do better for you. So if you want to be inspiring your employees to work harder, to do better, to invest in your vision, to want to, you know, value your opinion, then you need to start doing things and acting in ways that inspire them. And one of those things that Adam and Jackie make sure they do, for whether it's potential client, whether it's for a current client, whether it's for a friend, you know, when someone's having a baby, we're getting personalized, you know, onesies set out. Like, it's just always been like, hey, I'm thinking about you. You're on our mind. Like, you're not just, you know, you're not just a client, or you're not just an employee. You're not just, you know, somebody that
so Adam messaged me on a flight. I think it was when he was going to Chicago, and he messaged me like pretty late at night.
Yeah.
I was up and I saw it, and I was like, oh no, I hope nothing happened with their travel, because it was the first time they were traveling since I was hired.
Oh.
And that just, it made me nervous. So I was like, nothing can go wrong. But he messaged me and said, he was on the plane. He said, I need ice cream delivered to this person in Minnesota. And I was like, solid. Okay.
Right.
You know, he was like, she just tweeted that Chick-fil-A's ice cream machine is broken and she really needs it. And so, yeah, nice. I looked into how I could have it delivered. And
did we get it out?
Yeah,
nice.
I had Jenny's ice cream delivered, because that's like, you know, delicious.
Never had it.
Oh,
yeah.
Wegmans.
Nice. Oh,
this
perfect.
episode is sponsored by. Just kidding.
It's really not.
It's not. It's definitely not.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's talk about wearing a lot of hats and how fast paced things can be in a small business and all that. And a lot of people think in the corporate world, if the people are laid off or someone gets fired, usually those tasks are just pushed on to the next person. There's no like, hey, can you handle this? Or, you know, take this over. It's just assumed, and it is required, and there's no like.
Yeah. And there's no like removal of tasks. No. It's just all of this stuff still needs to get done.
So do it.
And even though you're working minimum 12 hours a day, you still got, you know.
Yes. So you don't get to focus on what you're good at, what you're hired for, what you excel at. You now get to carry on all of these extra tasks that are going to take you away from that. If you are working for an entrepreneur that has flipped that script, right? They're really hesitant to do that. In fact, if they have to do it, it's with, they don't like it, right? Because they have hired you for a specific reason. They have seen your talent or what you're good at, and
your skill set, your expertise. Yeah.
They want you to focus on that. They want you to give 110% to that, and they want that to be delivered, and they need it. They need it to get to where they're going. So what's nice is that even though things are constantly changing and things are different, and, you know, small businesses lose staff just the way other people do. It's just the way like businesses go. they have a way of being like, okay, as a team, how can we split this up? Who is best to do this? And only for a short time, because we don't want to take you away from what you're doing. I know Adam and Jackie are very quick to realize if something is taking you away from what they specifically hired you for, to get that changed. That's something that they want you to be able to focus on what you're good at so that you can deliver what they need from you. So I think that's important to
and also if you've shown an interest in something or a passion for it, or it's kind of a hobby, like and it's somewhere where the company may need a little help, they're like, hey, if you want, lean into that a bit, test it out, see how you do.
What's nice too is again, being an entrepreneur and hiring the people that you do, they have a way of seeing your talents that you can't even see and bringing those out in you. And that's the one thing you want to look for from an employer too. I don't want to work for somebody that doesn't challenge me to do better. I don't want to work for somebody that every day I come into the office, it's the same thing. There's no challenges. There's no opportunities. They don't know my name. They don't know who I am, what I have going on in my personal life. They could care less. They're not trying to help me get to the next step and grow. And sometimes it's hard to recognize the talents and things that we have within ourselves and where we need to be. Working for a good entrepreneur, they're able to spot those things. They're watching you and seeing what you're capable of and how you handle things and being like, oh, I can give this task to this person, or I can have them test this out. I started off as Adam's executive assistant.
You were the best assistant, right?
I was the world's best assistant.
Big shoes to fill here.
Yes, you're doing great, Chrissy. So I did it, and I didn't go into that thinking that I was going to be doing anything else, right? But quickly, Adam had very different ideas for me, and so he kept challenging me and pushing me into directions. Now that I know, into that sales, the client relation role. And I pushed back all the time when he would be like, at some point you should be doing it. I'm like, no, I have no interest in that. I don't want to do it. Why? Because I'm like, it was the confidence that I had in myself to be able to do that. We've worked, and Adam was always recognized that was my main issue. So it was been there 3.5 years. So it was constantly in these 3.5 years building that up enough and getting me to a place that every time he asked about it, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Eventually he was like, oh, you're just doing it. And I don't care. And it wasn't a place of like, I don't care, I need this role. It was a place of, because he had said to me, at what point are you going to realize you're good at that? You need to see that. So because I wouldn't just take it on myself, he didn't give me a choice. And that was probably the best thing that he could have done, because it has taken fears that I had and gone. And then I grew this confidence and understand that I am good at it. Like, I am really good at it. I still have a lot to learn, and I love learning from him, and I love the different things he's giving me to learn. But it was like,
and the tools that he shares.
Yes. But it was one of those, I didn't know. And I was so hesitant to be going into that like he recognized that and pushed me in that direction so that I could get to the next place that I needed to be. And that is the difference of working for a successful entrepreneur and a successful, say that 5 times, business, or in that corporate world where they don't, and not even that corporate world, but even like other businesses where your boss isn't the owner, right? They have a boss, where they're not interested in your growth. That is where there's that difference. And I don't think I could work for anyone else that would never have that same investment in where I'm going and what I'm doing.
Right. And so I'm going off book here. Look to camera. So one of the first things I noticed about Adam and Jackie is they are constantly working to improve themselves. They are invested in their self-improvement. They're invested in their personal growth. And they lead by example. Yeah. So they're always encouraging us to listen to this podcast, listen or read this book, watch this video,
watch the show. Like, hey, there's lessons in this. Like, everything that is thrown our way, there's usually some lesson behind it. And it's funny because they share it with the team. And that's, if you want a successful business with people that, again, want to invest in your business and in your vision and in your dream and be there along for the ride and not just be the people in the back of the plane, but your co-entrepreneurs with you, then you have got to be inspiring them and helping them along the same way that you're helping yourself along, because that's when, and I know for myself, and I think for you too, that's when you start to be like, this is worth it. This, the days where it's a lot of puzzle solving or you want to pull your hair out, because it happens.
Your brain is on fire.
Yeah. And you could say, or you're like, somebody says, oh, well, grass might be greener over here, right? No, like I am along for that ride because I see where we're going and nothing challenges me more. And I always say, I've used example, people are like, I hate Sundays. I hate Sundays.
There you go, using the word hate.
Yeah. I dislike Sundays. I dislike Sundays because I got to go to work on Monday.
The Sunday scaries.
I don't feel that way. I don't sit there on Sunday and be like, oh, I got to start the week. I got to start Monday. I'm more like, what's coming up sales wise? What's coming up? What are we changing? Oh, this is launching, or this is happening, or we have this meeting, or getting excited for our next radio show. Like, you need to be just as inspired every week for the start of that week, for the challenges that are going to come, just as the person that is holding that entrepreneur, that business owner, right? You got to just be just as excited as if it was yours as well.
Yeah.
And that's if you're not doing that as an employee, if you don't feel that way as an employee, then you need to, and you're craving that, you need to question and look around at where you're working, who you're working for, and what it is that you're doing.
And what's missing.
And maybe it's that, that having that leader in your life that needs to get you to the next step, the next point. So that's my, that's what I challenge people to do, is look at, and if you're an entrepreneur, I challenge you to look at how you're inspiring your team, because they're watching you. They're looking at you and what you're doing and how you're treating people and how you're running that business and how you are involving them. And so, for as the employee, challenge where you're at and what you're doing and how you're learning and growing. And as the entrepreneur, look at how you're treating the people that are sitting there watching you, that are wanting to fly that plane with you, right? Are you inspiring them to get out from the back of the plane and come up and be your co-pilot with you? That's what you really need to be looking at.
Yeah, I believe Joel has a question.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Oh, I love this. It's our first question on Maverick Mindset Radio.
We need a phone in here.
So explain the difference and the pitfalls of trying to, the difference of helping your entrepreneur be more efficient and effective versus trying to change them like a project, like a girlfriend would try to change a boyfriend. Oh, he's my project. Because I feel like sometimes assistants they're going to try to change this person, this man, this woman.
If Adam's going to change, it's going to be by his decision and his choice. I have to adapt to how he works. And so that involves constantly asking questions like, hey, am I annoying you? I ask that a lot.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a successful entrepreneur, if you have, and again, this takes a lot of the building on yourself. This is what Chrissy was talking about, the work that Adam and Jackie do on themselves. And in change, everybody evolves and change. It's how you're willing to accept that and take that into consideration. But you better be pretty confident in who you are, what your vision is, and how you're going to run things. Nobody coming into as an employee should be able to change you from that. Now, they can also learn from you too, and they're open to your ideas. But the core of who they are cannot be changed. So what they're looking for when they're hiring people is who is going to work well with me, not for me, and not coming in to want to change how I'm doing things, but share in the vision of how I'm doing things and are willing to stand beside me and continue and work together to get to that common goal. But
it goes back to last week where a new person might have learned new systems that could be additive or add value without changing the fundamental personality or work approach
Yes.
of that person that has made this business.
Yeah. So especially with new systems and ways that are done.
Which we're constantly.
Adam and Jack encourage that. Is there a better way? Because that's part of it. It's not that, no, I'm stuck in my ways. If you're that person, you're not going to be successful. Things are not going to run well. Part of being a successful entrepreneur is being open to those ideas and how they can work best for you. So if you're somebody that has these ideas, they're very open for somebody to come in and say, hey, I get how this is running. If we use this would probably improve. Bring that solution, bring that change so that they can look at it and be like, you're right. This would help us to do A, B, and C much better. Let's work on that. Get me the information I need. And that's the difference of, I'm not trying to change you. I'm trying to work with you and add different ways to improve what we're doing and how we're getting to where we're going.
Yeah, again, how can I make Adam's life easier? How can I take some of the burden off of him in a way that's actually going to help him, not a way that's going to help me.
Right.
Right. In a way that supports him so that he can do the work.
Yeah. And you might see how he's been doing things and bring a different suggestion. Be like, I see.
I absolutely have done that. Yeah. Yeah.
And he might say no. But
he has absolutely done that.
Yeah. And again, when he says no to something, or when they challenge back on something, you can either take that as they don't care about what I'm saying, or they don't want my ideas, or you can take it. I look at it when Adam tells me no or pushes back on something. I either look at it, either he's challenging me because he does agree with me, but I'm not presenting it the right way. I'm missing something and he wants me to go find it. Or I have to have enough faith and confidence in him that he does know more than me, and there is a method behind his madness, and I just don't see it yet.
Yeah, you haven't seen the history of the various attempts. Like he's already tried X, Y, and Z, and I'm bringing in something that's pretty close to Y. So I
will never forget, and you'll know what I'm talking about. There was an employee that pushed back on what Adam was doing, and you watch this conversation go back and forth, and this person is saying, you don't know what you're doing because you're only this, and I'm the expert in this, and Adam keeps his calm in that, because that person didn't understand. That might not have been Adam's specialty. That might not have been his thing. But the bigger picture of what he was looking at, he absolutely 100% knew what he was doing. And there was something he was trying to get to in order to make things happen a certain way. And that person couldn't see it. There was that block there. And it was just like, in those moments, you see that like, oh no, you missed it. Like, you missed what he was trying to teach you. But this person saw it as, that he was trying to change, exactly what you're talking about, Joel. He was trying to change the way Adam thought about things. And he wasn't getting and understanding what Adam was trying to tell him. So there was this fight, this back and forth, and he just couldn't see it. And it was one of those, like, you have to be just as open to what, and see that bigger picture to what's going on. So yeah, you can't, great question, Joel.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. You should pop in more often.
I know, we should have a question Q&A with Joel.
Yeah, instead of quote of the day.
Oh yeah.
I could do that.
We can
question of the day.
So
Joel.
we give Joel the what the show is about each week. So we need to have that'll work, Joel. I'm throwing that in there. See? And now what I'm going to do is go to Adam with this change.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are.
Look, I thought we weren't going to have enough. I went to you the way Adam comes to me every week and says, I don't know if we have enough to fill a whole hour. I'm like,
girl, I got you
about it. And here we are. We have filled the hour.
Yeah. So really quickly, there's an obscure holiday today. Oh. It's National Creamsicle Day. Very exciting.
Yep. So go get where can people get creamsicles around here?
I don't know, but I just bought a card from Flagship City Press for my grandmother.
Yeah.
Meemaw's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Meemaw.
All right. Closing. Let's see.
Closing. All right. So, hey, action item. Think about people you're working for, where you want to be, how you want to get there. And is that person inspiring you to get there? Thanks for tuning in to Maverick Mindset Radio. I believe in you, and we will see you next week.